Imagine finding out that the house you just moved into was full of more than 200 spirits. And not just any spirits, demonic spirits. In 2011, LaToya Ammons and her 3 children, along with her mother, moved into a home in Gary, Indiana. That was her first mistake. And within just a few days, their lives were turned upside down. The first thing that they noticed was that there were black flies everywhere. Now, I live down in the South, so I know the bugs can get a little bit crazy, but this was in the dead of winter, so a little odd. And soon thereafter, they started hearing footsteps and even started seeing shadowy figures walking around the house. And what happened over the next few months, I'm pretty sure would have the rest of us on a grippy sock vacation. Her children would levitate over their beds, walk on the ceilings, and speak in strange, deep voices that didn't belong to any of her children, who were all under the age of 13. Now, after seeing some shadowy figures and hearing some creaks and doors opening and the black flies, they were all unsettling, but nothing as intense as what happened about 4 months after they moved into the house. On March 10th, 2012, LaToya and her family gathered together to mourn the loss of a loved one. And this was the night that they witnessed LaToya's 12-year-old daughter levitating over her bed. Now, there are multiple witnesses to this, not just a couple of people. Keep that in mind. The family ended up praying over the girl, and she was let go, and there wasn't any more incidents that night. Now, this was kind of a sticky situation for them because no one took them seriously. They reached out to local churches, but they didn't really see the threat. The churches would just keep telling them to clean the house with bleach and say prayers. They were told to anoint all the doorways by using olive oil and putting crosses on things. But eventually 2 clairvoyants did come to visit the house, and they let LaToya know that they felt over 200 souls in the house, most of which were not human souls. They were demonic. This was around the time that the children started to speak really weird phrases in deep and gargling voices, like, "It's time to die. I will unalive you." And around this time, Ammons did not feel very good. She kept feeling very light and like she wasn't quite in her body. She also said that her youngest son would constantly be talking to another little boy who wasn't there. Her daughter started hearing voices that she was going to be unalived soon and the end was near. All really, really creepy shit. At this time, LaToya's not feeling like herself. Her kids aren't feeling like themselves, so naturally they went on to miss a bunch of school. I mean, they were terrified to even go to sleep at night, so that would lead to a lot of mornings of just not going in. And naturally, doctors and police felt it was time to get involved, but boy, did they not expect what came next. Now, on April 19th, 2012, LaToya took her kids to her family doctor. The doctor took note of the kids' delusional behavior and the weird voices, and he straight up was like, "I've never seen anything like that before in my life." And this is about the time that DCS got involved because, I mean, from a practical standpoint, they would assume that maybe there was some child abuse going on, or maybe, you know, LaToya had some religious delusions, you know, practical standpoints, not thinking that this haunting is real, because most people wouldn't think that it was real. Now, while in the hospital, both medical officials and police witnessed the little boy straight up walk up a wall and do a backflip. The DCS agent who witnessed this happen, she ended up retiring after this case and never taking a case again because this shook her so far to her core. There was also a slew of police officers who were in the Ammons house and experienced such weird things afterwards. They undoubtedly believed that this house was haunted. A few of them even experienced strange accidents after leaving the house, which kind of makes you wonder if something attached themselves to all of these people. And unfortunately, all of this led to LaToya actually losing custody of her kids for a little while. People just didn't have an explanation. All that they knew were that these children were unwell, and so was the mom. Having a supernatural explanation for that wasn't sufficient. But people came in and out of the house and had weird experiences on their own, and eventually this led to a priest being able to do an exorcism for LaToya. In fact, they would end up doing 3 exorcisms on this woman. And then thankfully LaToya did regain custody of her children and they moved out of the house. Of course, they'll never go back. And they said that they didn't experience anything after leaving that house. But a few years ago, Zak Bagans did end up buying this house. And yes, this is the Demon House in Gary, Indiana. If you haven't seen the documentary, it's actually pretty good. I'm not a real big Ghost Hunters fan but that was actually a pretty good documentary. It was pretty creepy. And I believe Zak Bagans had the house burned down because it was just that bad. I hope you like this story. If you like more, hit that follow button, comment down below and let me know what you think, and see you later.